Hello and welcome back, fellow cryptids. I am the cryptid known as Shay, and today we are continuing my ongoing series called Creature Collection, in which I deep dive into some lesser known supernatural and otherworldly entities, creatures, cryptids, and beings of different worlds, theologies, mythologies, and urban legends. There is a common icebreaker question that acts as a fun way to get to know people, and that is, if you could have any superpower, what would it be? It was somewhat of a personal fantasy. I could picture myself standing strong and majestic as I conjured a storm over my head, or alternatively, clearing up dark skies and ushering the sunlight in. I wasn't the only one to be fascinated by the idea. Pop culture is full of examples. From Storm of the X-Men comics to Thor, the God of Thunder himself, to Elsa from Frozen and Peppa from Encanto. There are countless examples to choose from that illustrate our fascination with being able to control the weather. But this fascination existed long before comics, movies, TV shows, or video games got to it. Since ancient times around the world, the ability to control the elements, including the raising of storms and causing rain, has been attributed to magicians, shamans, sorcerers, and witches. The best known reference to the beings known as Tempestarii is a piece written by Spanish Bishop Agobard of Leon in 1815 AD called On Hail and Thunder. It was a piece criticizing his own flock for their superstitious beliefs in the village Tempestarii, which were weather-making witches or magicians who lived among the common people and could summon or banish storms. Agobard of Leon wrote complaining about the people paying these magicians to stop storms instead of paying the usual tithes to the church. Meanwhile, when these people failed to banish storms, they would be victimized or even killed by the general populace. In his writings, Agobard himself clearly did not believe in the Tempestarii power in the first place. He argued that only servants of God, such as Moses, who we of course know for such feats as bringing hail, fire, and famine onto the Egyptians in the Bible, would be able to do such a powerful act in the first place. And witches, who were, according to him, servants of the devil, would never be able to do such a thing. Although they came from a place of skepticism through the same writings, we can learn a little bit more about the beliefs at the time, even while Agobard attempts to discredit them. He references a belief among his flock about the Tempestarii being in league with a race of cloud dwellers who come from a land named Magonia, which means a land of magic or land of thieves. These people were said to sail the skies in storm clouds. They would then pay Frankish Tempestarii to summon up storms over farmlands, during which the Magonians would swoop down and steal the corn from the fields. On the particular occasion which prompted Agobard to write, several supposed Magonians had been taken prisoner by Arite villagers shortly after a bad storm. The bishop had been forced to intervene and debate with the villagers in order to save the prisoners' lives. I was unable to unearth much more information about Tempestarii in particular, so I cannot tell you the true origins of these surprisingly specific superstitions. What I can tell you is that the belief in witches who could raise storms went beyond the Tempestarii, especially during the witch hunts. Witches were said to be able to conjure tempests, hailstorms, and lightning, targeting homes and crops, sinking ships, and killing men and animals with supposedly joyful glee. Other church authorities took a somewhat contradictory approach from the bishop. They stoked these beliefs in the masses, instead by saying God permitted these attacks by the devil and the witches who worshipped him because the world was wicked and needed to be punished. The Catholic Church took part in persecuting innocent people for causing storms as early as 700 AD. In 1591, perhaps the most famous case was recorded during the North Berwick witch trials. John Fian and his alleged coven of witches were accused of raising a sea storm to drown King James VI and Queen Anne on their way from Denmark, which was said to quick-start his preoccupation with witchcraft and thus kick-started witch hunts under his rule, most of which would target women. Interestingly enough, a lot of remedies against witchcraft were prohibited by the Catholic Church because they were pagan of origin themselves. Instead, they suggested remedies such as prayer, sacraments, and the invocation of God's name. They also claimed that strong faith, keeping the commandments, following church rites, would make one immune from the storms raised by witches anyway. But the church soon ran into a problem. You see, the common folk were reluctant to give up their protective practices or dismiss their superstitions as false. In response, the church was forced to sanction certain practices, but they did their best to make them as church-friendly as possible. Ringing of the church bells was thought to drive storm devils away, and so this was sanctioned. They also sanctioned placing charms made from flowers in the crop fields, so long as they were consecrated on Palm Sunday. This, it was believed, would protect the farmers' crops during a storm, even if the surrounding lands and crops were destroyed. By now, the true tragedy of the witch hunts is well known, and the danger of reckless superstition and fear has been well recorded. The origins of the Tempestarii, or the people of Magonia, is a little less clear. Was this just another case of that same fear and paranoia that fueled the witch trials? Agabard certainly seemed to think so. And certainly at least one group almost paid for that fear with their lives. Is it possible that there was a grain of truth to it? And if there were witches long ago who had the power to command mighty storms, is it at all possible that this power still somehow exists today?
For watching. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like and subscribe, and really please drop a comment below about what sort of creepy cryptid, creature, or entity you would like to see me cover next. And cryptids, I hope you have a wonderful and safe spooky season.